Finally, some great news, some good positive movement out of the Department of Justice and Pam Bondi's new Second Amendment task force. This is the type of movement that I have been waiting for, as I know many of you have as well. And you're going to want to stick around and listen to this. It's finally looking like some of the frivolous lawsuits by the Department of Justice, ATF, and the like are going to be dealt with and dropped. Yeah. First, thank you to Blackout Coffee. You know who they are. Woo. Best coffee in the land. If you don't believe me, try it. I'll give you 10% off with my code GNG10 over at blackoutcoffee.com/GNG. We support Second Amendment Foundation, Gun Owners of America, Firearms Policy Coalition. $2 of every single item in their name gets donated right back to them so that they can sue the government and do things like this too. All right, so what am I talking about? Well, there was a lawsuit that I covered a couple times where the Department of Justice, along with or in lockstep with, alongside with Letitia James, who's the Attorney General of the state of New York, well, there was a lawsuit suing Brownells, Primary Arms, 80% Arms, Rainier Arms, and Glock Store for ghost guns. You know, the untraceable, scary guns. And there was one of those lawsuits, where we were starting to wonder, like, hey, Pam Bondi and Trump administration, what's going on? Are you going to do anything about these lawsuits? And you know that we've had several victories when we apply pressure to them. It seems like they will respond well when there's a large amount of pressure put on them. Well, GOA and others put a ton of pressure on the DOJ and Pam Bondi about this lawsuit, saying, hey, if you say the Second Amendment is not a second-class right, why are you still suing these companies with this stupid ghost gun rule? I'm going to show you a couple things here. First, here's a letter. I apologize. It is just emblazoned and embossed and impregnated with GOA's watermark. I love y'all, GOA, but this is a little crazy. It's a little much. But check this out. This is a letter on April 9th that was sent to the clerk of the court for the United States Court of Appeals of the Second Circuit regarding this case, which is New York versus Arm or Ally. And it says, Dear Ms. Wolf, the government respectfully submits this supplemental letter brief in response to the court's October 3rd, 2024 order directing the parties to address the effect of the Supreme Court's decision in Bondi v. Vanderstock. That's the ghost gun case. In Vanderstock, the Supreme Court held that the Gun Control Act applies to at least some weapon parts, kits, and unfinished frames or receivers, and accordingly rejected a facial challenge to a rule promulgated by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives that regulated such kits. I'll jump to the last page, which is what we want to know. In sum, Vanderstock conclusively agrees with the government's position in this case. Quote, the GCA embraces some weapon parts kits and unfinished frames or receivers. The decision confirms that the district court in this case was correct in holding that the defendant's products are firearms under the Gun Control Act, and its denial of defendant's motion to dismiss should be affirmed. Respectfully submitted, Matthew Podlosky, who's the acting U.S. attorney. Now, I showed you that for a specific reason, because that is this Department of Justice a week and a half ago saying, we think we should be pushing forward on this case, suing these gun companies, because we've always been able to make our own guns, but all of a sudden we think that's illegal. The ATF made a new rule. Well, a ton of pressure was put on by GOA and you, the viewers, here on all these channels that did videos. And again, they respond with when there's pressure, and here is their response that came down yesterday. It's good news. As you can see, it was dated yesterday. Again, to the clerk of the court. It says, Dear Ms. Wolf, the government respectfully submits this supplemental letter brief in response to the court's October 3rd, 24 order, and following the government's initial submissions dated April 9th, 2025, addressing the effect of the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in Bondi v. Vanderstock. The government's April 9th letter stated that the Van der Stok decision confirms that the district court in this case was correct in holding that the defendant's products are firearms under the Gun Control Act, and its denial of defendant's motion to dismiss should be affirmed. On February 7th, President Trump issued an executive order titled Protecting Second Amendment Rights, the Executive Order 14.206. Among other things, this order directed the Attorney General to review all actions of executive departments and agencies to assess their impact on the right to bear arms. As part of implementing the President's executive order, the Attorney General on April 8th created the Second Amendment Enforcement Task Force, which is devoted to protecting the Second Amendment rights of all Americans. Upon review of this case by the task force, the government has reconsidered its position in this case. The government's view is that the Supreme Court's decision in Van der Stok provided some clarity on the regulatory question of how best to apply the Gun Control Act to unfinished firearms and receivers. But this interpretation should not serve as a basis for punishing gun manufacturers for conduct that the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives considered lawful at the time of the sales. The government further no longer wishes to be a party to this litigation. If and when this court should remand this case to the district court, the government would move to withdraw as a party to this case. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Respectfully, the same acting U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Matthew Podlosky. So I have to give credit where credit is due, because I'm the one who definitely holds people accountable and smashes and trashes them when they screw up. Good on you, Trump administration, Pam Bondi, and the Second Amendment Task Force. We need more of this. So they're looking to withdraw themselves. The government says, we're not doing this. We're not going to continue this lawsuit. It is insane to sue people for something that was considered legal at the time. And that's great. This is good news. Now, hopefully they'll do this on all of the cases that are currently going on. I have been told to be on the lookout for more similar actions. And if you want more information on the government maybe bouncing out of cases or dropping charges altogether, I'll keep you informed. All you have to do is hit that red subscribe button down below. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. And then hit that bell notification, turn it on, and maybe give the video a like if you think, finally, the government withdrawing from this case is a good move. And I know all my friends at 80% Arms and Primary Arms and Brownells and everybody else that were selling these items where New York said, we're going to sue you. I know they're happy today. So congratulations, everybody. Good work by those who I know are pushing behind the scenes, and I can't really... Yeah, there's people I know that are really tied in pushing this to happen, and they're directly responsible. So thank you guys and gals behind the scenes from the bottom of my heart. It means a lot. Americans are breathing a little easier today, but there's more to be done. I appreciate y'all. Be safe, stay vigilant, carry a gun to keep you, your friends, your family, your community safe. I'll see you in the next one. God bless America. Take care.